All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to, of course, the Monday stream. I hope you all had a fantastic weekend. I hope you did. And it's ready to get in because we started green today, but will we go red? There are so many key levels here for the SP 500 Nasdaq that we need to discuss. Obviously, a few of you guys getting hyped for some of the hype stocks that are coming out through there. But without further ado, let's get into the action. Quite a lot of things happening, aren't they? Well, what is this? What is this? You guys love these stocks. We've looked at these types of stocks before. Obviously, people said we weren't talking about uranium. If you're not on uranium, then you're not doing well. Hey, we've been on uranium for over a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever it was, since we got those fantastic super chats for some of the stocks. But look, we'll look at CCJ a little bit later. I want to talk about the market first. I think it's always the best place. And I hope everyone is having a fantastic Monday morning, afternoon, or evening if you're here in Australia. Absolutely. Greg Hartman says, what about that Airbnb? We'll be taking a look at that later. That's fine. And then Mr. Murray says, Scott Morgan, Tom Burns, money for heat, only monopoly money. Okay, monopoly money. Very easy to make money, those monopoly cash. So let's have a look at some key things that people are discussing in the market. We'll start off here with the S&P 500. We'll go full screen for you guys so you can see all of this. Now, everyone's discussing this trend line that goes through all these last lows. So we have here, of course, the low, the low, the low, the low, the low. Depending on whether you're using the futures or the real market, you'll notice that there's a big squeeze there. Now, the problem with these kind of markets and these drawing of lines is that we can draw them through multiple closes, and therefore we hit the support. We can draw them through the wicks. We can draw them through all these different levels. It's why I tend to not use them that often unless they're incredibly clear. We have used them on the top end for profit-taking levels and for resistance levels, but on this low, it's difficult. So let's just delete all the lines. Let's delete absolutely everything. I want it all gone, guys. All gone. Okay. And we're not even going to put moving averages on here just yet. I just wanted to quickly show you where we're at. Well, in fact, we do need moving averages for that. We'll have to go back over. All right, so let's go here. We do need moving averages. Daily. Okay. So here is our 20 exponential moving average. Where do we expect the market to be after a closure below? A retest from the bottom up to test this resistance. No, nothing quite says Monday like a resistance being tested straight away into the open. Previous support acts as resistance. We saw that buying pressure come through, obviously created that wick. Then we saw a sell-off into the event. We saw a rally again through Friday session and then quite a big crack back down. And now we're testing this point. So this is where I ask you guys, what do you think happens today? What are the big brain people in the chat think's going to happen when we're hitting a 20 exponential in the morning? Let's put down the line. Let's put exactly where that line is. Bang, 44.90. No surprises. 2 hour. Let's have a look at the price action here. Very interesting stuff. So we have previous support, obviously some conjecture, resistance into the morning open. If we sell here, we probably get back down to this level, and this is where those little bulls and bears fight it out. If you're thinking about the long and you bought the low on the close, well done to you. Obviously, if you bought in the futures market, well done to you. This is, though, the fight between the bulls and the bears today. Close above this level, then we start talking about returning back to those highs. Close back down and underneath 44.60. Where's it going? Who knows? Where's it going? Absolutely. Scott Morgan says, go $5, go ahead and turn on your heater, bud. Look, I've got ducted in my house, Scott, and it's really annoying. It's actually really annoying. The whole house, I need to get it so it splits. I bought a new house, but ducted heating is crap. That is what I have to say about ducted heating. All right, let's see the next level. What do you guys think it is? 50 exponential, of course. 50 exponential right down here, because that has been the previous level of massive buying. We've seen buying 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. You get underneath 50, then we're talking bear market. And what I mean by bear market is that bigger correction seems much, much more likely. This has just been such a good level that if you close underneath that zone, you start talking about bears coming back in. Now, it's not a typical bear market. We're not talking about 20% corrections and stuff like that. That's a true bear market, technically under 20%. But realistically, what we're looking for here is down, bounce, or down, close underneath, more significant pullback between that 8 and 10% that we've seen several times happen during normalized pullbacks. So a lot at stake here at the 44.90 level that we're opening at. A lot at stake. US 100, you go have a look at that. It's the exact same thing. Again, I want to keep it in full screen here just for a few minutes. Thank you very much, Scott, for the donation there. Previous supports. Support, support, support becomes resistance. Conscious Investing says a lot of retail's expecting a buy the dip scenario. That is correct. I've never seen more people saying buy the dip than now. Absolutely never seen more people do that. So we're at the previous support becomes resistance. Again, a critical level straight into the open. Big supports that you'll want to be looking at. You'll want to see, do we get sell off here? If we do, pull back to this. If you're interested in buys, I expect that to be a zone of interest, that 15.5. And then if it does bounce back up, of course, we move towards that resistance, which is sitting around that 15.70, 670 area. If we fail here and close below this zone, where do we go? Back down to test. And I feel like if it goes back down to this level, it's going to make a new low. That's the way I feel about the market. From the technical perspective, this is the dance. This is the dance zone. If you're looking underneath this zone, it closes, more likely to go towards that 50 exponential moving average. Absolutely more likely to do that. So we'll go back over to the other view now, and we'll see what everyone else has said. Chronically Sam says, ducted seems like a good idea until you live with it. Yeah. It's just annoying. You just have to turn on everything. I split most of the house, but not this little room. SW says, today buy the dip bull trap, says SW. And I think SW is generally fairly bullish. Interesting. You're pretty damn bullish, aren't you, SW? Buy the dip is bull trap, is what SW says. Interesting. Knock Knock says, hashtag short Dota. No way, dude. Buy now, pay later. Yeah. So we've got all the markets here at resistance. I think that this is the point where we open the market. I feel like there could be some early little bit of selling, a little bit of rally off this zone, and then we'll really find the truth of what the market's going to do. CPI data coming out, of course, on the Tuesday. If you're not aware, make sure you get one of these calendars. Let's just bring that calendar up. CPI coming in Tuesday, 8:30 a.m. We'll be doing and covering that tomorrow in the live stream. That'll be an important one to look at. We also have, if we scroll through, the other big US bit of news is core retail sales. Retail sales, 8:30 a.m. Thursday. And then we've got quad witching events. We know these 2 days tend to be quite a lot of fun. So we'll keep going over that as well, because those events and those days do tend to be pretty big. We'll just quickly have a look at the AMC here. So AMC continues its upward momentum. This stock's been, of course, very, very strong for retail traders recently. I've been very bullish on it, not because of short interest. I don't particularly care about that. What I care about is, of course, momentum, price action, and that idea that people are getting more bullish and they're pressuring it into the right areas. AMC has always been the better technical trade over the GME side of things. It's had those better resistances and better supports. If we take a look here, we have the resistance, which is around that 52.50. If we bust through that, then we open up $60. So AMC up here, 51.68 in the morning. Key supports, 48.30, 48.50. And in the middle of this zone, we're just looking towards that 52. And you can see here with the volume metrics, you'll notice that around that 58.60 tends to be huge amounts of buy-sell action. It makes sense. It sat there for quite some time. So this is going to be the spot to watch if you're an AMC fan and you're waiting for it to get through that next big key level. I think the short squeezes could continue to play out this week in terms of people being hyped about them. Looks like a lot of Wall Street bets are back in. PK Subban says we dumped hard on Friday. Yeah, remember the close is the key, not the open. Who cares about the open? The close is where Wall Street are. That's the area. Thank you very much. The 750 people joining us here on the Monday. Appreciate you guys. So thank you very much for joining us. We'll keep going through all of our normal analysis. So we've got the VIX here closed at above 20. It's a fairly significant close. It's then come back down to a point where you've got that previous like resistance that could act as support. I don't tend to technically trade the VIX like that, but I do think that this is a point where it makes sense for it to be here. You've got the US 500 at that 44.90. It's got the supports that it's testing from the bottom up. At the same time, the VIX is testing from the top down. It makes sense. S&P starts to turn off, VIX will rise. They're really a very similar type of trade. As we know, fear index, the market goes down. That's the type of thing. KZ No Limit says, hit the thumbs up. Appreciate it very much. Thank you very much, KZ. So we'll move into some other things. We've got Bitcoin, of course, having a bit of a rough weekend. I must say this was rougher than normal for Bitcoin. So a lot of people are now starting to say, oh, well, this is a miniature Wyckoff event. So what the idea, of course, of a Wyckoff event is, or a Wyckoff accumulation, is that we form a base, we have low levels where it spikes through a point to really collect the most amount of money possible. It scares out those people. And what it's really designed for is a leveraged market. So if a market is heavily leveraged, which it was over here, we know a lot of people were buying using the fandangled leverage they've found out about in the crypto world. It then crashes. People then buy that dip. They get that dead cat bounce. It crashes again. It crashes again. It crashes again. And then usually what it does, it goes up to this level, consolidates either underneath or just above in that final stage, and then it goes ballistic. And we've seen that happen a few times. If this is the beginning of some nice Wyckoff accumulation, then this could be either about halfway through, or we might have one more flash, quick reversal, because remember, it's all about quick reversals here. That will be the final dip off. If that occurs and you get a quick reversal, I'd be pretty happy with the technicals actually here. Remember, a flash movement down to take out stop losses followed by a quick reversal is a stop hunt. That's when the whales have gone in, and it doesn't matter whether it's a stock or it's something else. That's where the whales or Wall Street's gone in. They're swimming into the ocean. They're eating all those plankton. The plankton, they've got full bellies. They've eaten them all up. They've chewed them, and then they use all those profits, and we're long. They're like, we're long, boys. And then they go and have crayfish. The people, not the whales, they have crayfish lunches using your money. Crayfish or crawfish or whatever you guys call them in America. Lobsters, I think. Might be easier to use the, the American king crab, Alaskan king crab. That's the one, Alaskan king crab. SW says, I try to adopt your optimism as I think you are correct. It pays off in the long run. Yes. Today is not the long run. Absolutely, SW. Optimism pays. Druckenmiller, who's a pretty good investor, says he has made money from, of course, the bearish markets. We all know that. But he maintains a level of optimism. Now, it's interesting because last year he started talking about risk reward being terrible in the market. And I have a feeling, guys, he probably was just like doing that so you would give him cheaper price. But you know what I mean? He tends to say there's always a pearl of wisdom in all of these things that people say, whether it be me or it be somebody else. And those pearls of wisdom sometimes resonate with me. You guys would know I love the Warren Buffett saying that if you're looking at your investment portfolio and the market dictated you weren't able to sell that stock, let's say for 2 years, 10 years, 5 years, would you be freaking out? If the answer is yes, then you might want to revisit your risk management techniques. Now, he doesn't say that exactly, but that's me paraphrasing it. You guys get the idea. It's very, very important. It's very important. Jack Cope says, I should have called them ditch bugs. There we go. Thank you. So I like the Bitcoin base here. Obviously, big support around 44.2. We get lower, 42.5 kind of becomes that last zone. And I'd like to see it accumulate here and just come back up. 47.5 is the most important zone to be looking for on Bitcoin from a resistance standpoint. That's going to be the key area. Ethereum is very similar, base being formed straight through these lows here. Again, it's testing from that low down, and it makes sense. It's still degrading. It's degrading the market overall. That's been fine. Now, there has been some coins that have done quite well. Some of my favorites like KSM, DOT, etc. have done, have done a little bit better. And yeah, I think that they've had their runs on it. I have a feeling, and correct me if I'm wrong here, crypto fans, the peeps that know the crypto, that crypto is moving into a more advanced stage of the market. Now, it's not there yet, but what I mean by this more advanced stage is if you took a look at the top 100 crypto projects, I believe that people are moving into hubs. And what I mean by that is platforms that other things are creating on. People are starting to really question whether the hype is real or the hype is warranted. Now, it's becoming more of an advanced market. Now, it's still very fledgling, but this is what happens. People start to question things. You see movements into really great projects. It's no longer necessarily just something that's named cool and has a cool looking image and a great website. And I hope that's where we're getting to, because that makes me excited about the crypto universe as well. So I like Bitcoin and Ethereum. They're still looking at that very solid kind of support there. If it breaks underneath, then of course all the other markets will come down. Now, another one that's been coming down, I'll get asked about today, so I might as well do it now. We'll do Solana. Solana will most likely have spikes in it again, but this is a sign of the hype's out of it. It reminds me of Matic. It looks just like Matic. So if you want to get a carbon copy of how this plays out, I believe Matic is the best scenario for that. Check out that one. Okay. Some interesting things there. Finkin79 says, we're seeing countries adopting crypto now. It's heading universal eventually. I agree. However, people think regulation is bad. Regulation may initially create downfalls, but overall will create mega gains, in my opinion. Slower gains, but mega gains. The main reason, it allows funds to properly invest. And people always argue with me about this. They're like, Tom, they're already investing. Nah, dudes. They're not investing like they could be. Can you imagine if a big fund put let's say a big fund has 7% invested in alternatives, what they call alternatives. Let's say they put 1% of that into the crypto universe. Do you know how much money that is? Just one big fund? Whoa, that would be massive. So if you're looking and you're thinking about it, that's really the game changer. But I think it's all about picking your projects. Be smart, know which ones you're trading, know which ones you're holding. That's kind of the big thing here. It's a transitional stage in the markets here. Transitional. EK Santander says, hey, could you have a look at Piton, please? Yes, I can. Sometimes I'm nice to you guys. See? EK just asked it. I can't answer everyone's question, but I'm just looking at it because I know it went ballistic. Yeah, look, hey, Piton is super interesting chart. Let's go look at the daily. Why I say it's super interesting is, number one, this support has been found several times. And this was that really big scandal where I think, unfortunately, some children died, I believe. I can't remember what happened here, but I think that's what it was. And you've now got that $100. Like, that's a very definitive level that's done well. So you think about Piton, and then you think about this horizontal resistance. And this, in many ways, kind of looks like a massive inverse head and shoulders. I mean, you've got your left shoulder, your head, your right shoulder, and you've got that beautiful neckline that's coming up there around that 126.50. This is a big rally here. It's hard for you to be excited about this rally. I would be more excited about a pullback to 110, looking for a small turnaround there, and then taking into the 126. If you like Piton, that would be more the play that I like from it. 126 plus, then you can get very excited about that participation phase. Looks a lot better. Conscious Investing says, Piton, I took the short on the close after the huge rally, made 100% on my puts after work. That's only possible if they're very short dated. Only traded about 20 minutes that day. Well done, but that is correct. Megan T says, Tom, check the BTC shorts. Yeah, we will. Let's have a look at that BTC shorts. All good. All good in the BTC shorts land. Still right, it's rising a little bit, but whatever. It's nowhere near these other ones. Let's have a look at ETH shorts. In some ways, that actually showed us that the market was going to decline. This is good. This is good. Come on down, ETH shorts. Come on now. Get back down. Let's put that base in crypto. We need to put the base in very, very soon. I don't mind if it spikes underneath. Some of you probably wouldn't like it, but I think that's an opportunity. And again, there is strong technical bases being formed here that if they do the right thing, could solidify a great level for participation to end up coming through. And I love participation. It's like that previous massive Wyckoff movement over here. Look at the participation. It happened quickly. It was beautiful. You think you missed it, but you blinked twice. You didn't miss it. There was another full leg up. And that's what I'm hoping here. Or if it comes down here, so be it as well. Let's get some base formation off this level. Either or, whatever. It is what it is at that point. Tyler Webb says, Tom, how cold are you? Wear a giant winter jacket in your own house. Yeah, it's all right. It's like 11:30 at night. It's okay, guys. I'm not that cold. I just wear the jacket sometimes. When I'm feeling a little bit bearish, I got the bearish jacket out. When I'm not feeling bearish, I get the bullish jacket out, which is summer clothing. It's all good. It's all good. US 500, 44.90. So at that resistance, this is the key zone to be watching. As we've said, 50 exponential, the true buy the dip scenario that's been happening. 20 moving average closed below, has tended to rally up like it did last time. Oh, actually, I think it just dropped here, but it tends to usually test that level because it's so important. And then if it's going to come down, that's the point where it's going to come down. So we should find something near the close here today in terms of direction. Let's keep moving through some stocks. Let's do some Tesla. So Tesla up 0.63 in the morning. We have our longer level trend line, which I like a lot. I like the trend line, guys. It's pretty sweet. Then we have previous resistance. And then, of course, we've got the 20 moving average here. I like this 20 moving average level. And I still think Tesla it's pretty damn good. It got so close last week, and we knew there were so many 760 calls all over the place. So I guess that's why it was down in some ways. But there's no price action currently telling us, oh, it's bearish. If it gets down to this point, previous resistance, we hope holds as support. And if it keeps going down, then we've got our trend line on the bottom. So they're the two key levels or three key levels I'm looking at. This level, this level, this level. The other thing you should be aware of, if you haven't looked at it, is that weekly is nasty as hell. It did not close above our key closes. This is unfortunate. This puts me with a sad face coming into Monday if I'm loving Tesla shares, because that is very upsetting. I'm angry. How do I draw? That's an angry looking face, yeah? That's how we feel about this Tesla market, because if we close above, let's go. But we didn't, which means that nasty Wall Street aren't ready to let us through yet. They just want us to keep buying calls and losing money. Red Rum says it is coming. All right, I hope so. Thank you very much, Pino. Appreciate that. JR says, if you're talking about clothes, you're missing the point of the channel. Look, if you want me to, you can donate to me right now, and I will buy the Gucci top that everyone seems to wear nowadays. The supreme writing on the text is a waste of money. Waste. What you need to do is you need to think about your investments. Don't worry about the supreme top. If you're going to go and buy those things, just buy Louis Vuitton wallets and Rolex watches. They seem to go up, or bags. At least then they're kind of partially investable. Maybe those clogs that Kanye made. Patricia S says, thoughts on US oil. Yes, we'll take a look at that right now. Kanye clogs. I don't know what they're called. They're kind of ugly. and they're basically expensive crocs. Yeah, so US oil looks really great. Actually, don't mind this chart. Whoa, volume profile went crazy then. Yeah, this would be a beautiful daily close. I'm a big fan. I'm a fan of the US oils, but I do prefer it closed above here. You'll notice the trend line down, pressure on that, support end up holding. Got that inverse head and shoulders here as well. Could bode well for oil stocks, something to watch. Got a new member coming in from Sohei. Thank you very much for becoming a new member. I appreciate that. And Musti says pumpy dumpy puffer jacket merch. Yeah, I've actually ordered some of that, so hopefully it comes soon. Hopefully it comes soon. All right, we'll go back into some charts here. Conscious Investing says oil falls with the market. It does tend to fall with the market. It's actually showing strength, which could be in line with maybe the market is not as weak as some people think it could be. You know, these are all readers that we look for. Obviously, copper is another one. You can see here copper actually flagged, broke back up, ties going towards that 750. We've seen iron ore do a little bit of a turnaround as well. There's a lot of contradictory kind of notes in the market. And that's why I've said neutral and really doing those day trades tends to be the better place, because it's tough to read all. Usually you start to get like a good signal. So you might have copper weakening at the same time. You've got the market doing this, which is like a peak, a trough, a lower peak, and then it cracks through. And all those signals come together and they become very, very clear. Being bearish, remember, is very, very hard in the market. It's not easy, guys. Bears aren't easy. They only come out 1 to 2 months a year. So it's very, very, very rare for the bear to arise, whereas the bull, it's eating the grass and the pasture all of the year long. Absolutely. Britsu, $5. Hey, Tom, do you look at institutional ownership of stocks or do you believe it has importance? I think you'll find that any large stock has a huge amount of institutional ownership because they'll be mandated to own it due to it being in an index or something like that. I know a lot of people make huge importance on institutional ownership. I don't tend to really care that much. And I guess I think I would rather, like, say, here's a good question. It's not so much institutional ownership, but let's say you had a stock and it was owned by the CEO. It's in healthcare, and they tend to sell their options. Let's say they have like stocks and they tend to sell them and create capital. Let's say there's an announcement coming up that's about an approval, like an FDA approval or something. If they choose to keep the capital all of a sudden, hey, I'd be paying a lot of attention to that. That's serious business. If you want to trade those kind of FDA approval style stocks, you want to know absolutely everything about the ownership from the internal side. But from the institutional ownership, I know a lot of people make a big deal about it in the stocks such as AMC, GME, and things. I think that's a lot to do with market capitalization and how big the size is. Plus, they do tend to, it might even be like a cool thing that they can market. They can say, look, we have a very small portion in here and that we've made a lot of money off. Hey, look, it's in our report. And then maybe they get more funds. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of looking at it. It means it's usually happened, though. Like a penny stock won't have that much institutional ownership, whereas something like an Apple or something like an Amazon or something like that just means it's a proper stock with great liquidity behind it. Supposedly silver's falling off a cliff. Let's have a quick look here. Yeah, silver certainly weakening. So that'll be the dollar index going up here, and that'll be putting some pressure on gold as well. So this is where, you know, you've got your real support here for gold around that 1782. If it closed underneath here, it's really bad. Yeah. Really bad. You could see it going 1760 quite quickly. 1760 is the next big key level. So we'll see how that plays out. We've also got 1802 closure above that. I think that's quite bullish for gold. Let's take a look at silver again. Yeah. This sucks. It hit that trend line down. We had that one great trade that went into the Friday session with non-farm payrolls. I remember it well. And then since then, it's just not done that level of recovery we required. It went underneath our beautiful trend line that we had here. All of it was around this zone. There's nothing you can do with silver now. I mean, it's coming into the support area, but you'd be brave to buy it, I feel. Got to wait for more information. It's like looking at gold. You've got rejection wick, rejection wick, rejection wick. And then do you really want to buy here when you've seen 3 rejection wicks? You know what I mean? Like, it's, if it closed above, there's plenty of meat. There's plenty available still. If it closed below, bad things happen. Does that answer your question, Britsu? I think it means a stock has happened and it's become important, but at the same time, I don't look into it that much. Lunch Money says most institutions are prohibited from buying stocks below $5. Depends on the country. Absolutely. EDL says do not catch falling knives today. Interesting. CMX says, Tom, how will Jay Powell and friends keep GDP at or above 6% going forward? They won't. They'll keep it at. I think there's still growth in the next year, so that won't be too bad. But after that point, we'll really find out what's going to happen. I think the US is all about actually, you know what? It's possible. It's possible. Deglobalization. It is possible. But I don't believe it's going to be 6%. Let's get back down to lower levels there. We're about to get into all of our stocks, but I did want to mention it's Shanghai Composite because a few people thought I missed this last week. I didn't miss it, guys. I see the Shanghai Composite. So it closed at the all-important level here, above something we've been looking at for a very long time. This is the highest closure now on the Shanghai Comp in quite some time. Now, it's interesting because you think about the news coming out of China. Every tech stock getting under fire. And at the same time, you've got that Evergrande or Evergrande or whatever, however you pronounce it, corporation, the one in the real estate mob. And that's basically bust. I mean, let's face it, it probably is. Speculation only, but yeah, it probably is. And we're thinking about what happens next, yet the market's like, no, we don't care about that. We're ready to roll again. We're ready to actually pick up steam and get some good returns. Because realistically, the Chinese market has been shocking, has been a shocking investment. It's so far behind on PE ratios in many sectors due to all of this. And it's just starting to roll up. So yeah, it's interesting index kind of play here. Yeah, the Evergrande housing thing. Yeah, that there's a lot of people protesting. I would say the government bail it out, but it won't be a traditional bailout. They can't keep doing this. So it's like every year a new housing company goes bust in China and the government keeps bailing them out. They've also got this really big problem in small lending. So what that is like, people say, oh, I'm going to put $10,000 into this. And, this person gets a little loan unsecured. And then they all kind of borrow off each other. And then this person goes and buys a Louis Vuitton bag. This one buys a Rolex. This one buys a scarf they can't afford. And this one gambles the stocks and buys AMC and loses accidentally. And this one buys a really bad crypto coin. So, and then they don't pay this person back. And then this person's sad. So that seems to be the big issue, I think, that's coming out. These micro lender mobs, they're also very bad there. I think with this whole, rumored to be $400 billion company. Lehman was 60 to 80, something like that, if I remember rightly. In the day and age that we're in, they'll probably chunk it out and they'll probably say, okay, let's bail $200 billion over here and let this bit fail. And we'll kind of bail maybe over here. We'll bail a little 25 billion there and little 25 billion there. They'll do it strategically and they'll slap them. They'll say no more. And then they'll try to regulate that area. I will tell you right now, and we may have some people that are from Beijing or from Shanghai here, and they might back me up here. You have not seen anything until you see how expensive some of the property is in those main sectors. This is just interesting. Thank you very much to 1,150 people that are joining us. So you've got like ring 1, then you've got like ring 2, ring 3, ring 4. Anyway, if you're in this ring 1 or ring 2 in Beijing, it's so expensive. I think I've told this story before. I was over there even back in 2016, and I was in some guy's house here. He's like, how much do you reckon this is worth? And I'm like, I don't know, dude, like $1 million. And he's like laughing at me. And I'm like, dude, this is dumb, man. I'm thinking in my mind, it's a dump. No. How wrong I was, guys. How wrong I was. It was around 10.5 million USD. Million. And it was a dump. I'm telling you. Oh, my goodness. It was crazy. So, yeah, they really have some expensive housing. Even by Australian standards, I would say they're 2 times more expensive than us. And that's hard to believe because we've got some pretty expensive housing here. Maybe 3, maybe 4. I don't know. Okay, we'll keep going through some of the stocks. So we've got Square. Let's take a look at Square. It is rebounding 0.35%. It's on the weekly 20, which tends to be one of those moving averages that most stocks like. However, Square doesn't care about it. I've been warning you guys for some time. I understand this Afterpay acquisition is expensive. I also understand that Jack Dorsey tends to not get things done very quickly. PayPal are coming for them, and I think there's a big problem here. We've got to open up the crypto space. We've got peak, trough, lower peak, lower trough. This is a support. This is all important area for it. If it gets underneath here, we might keep going down, and then you've got me interested. The 220s, the 200s of the world. These levels I'm interested in, but they've got to get this title out. They've got to get this Afterpay integrated ASAP and more crypto on the thing. Because I was watching a few ads, and I'm telling you what, there's other companies coming for them. There's like Toast, which is more in restaurants, I believe, but maybe that's something that's hurting Square. It could. This is a competitive space. They've got to keep going. Right on support. If you're looking here, wait for lightning bolts. That's going to be the big thing. Wait for the thing there. Derek 4 with $1,000,000 for Hong Kong at $10. Thank you very much. A mansion in the US is a closet in Hong Kong / Shanghai. Huh? A mansion in the US is a closet. Do you mean the other way around? You mean, I don't know. I don't know what you mean, but we basically, you mean a mansion is a closet in the US? Yeah. Well, Hong Kong, a closet is like literally somebody's closet is literally a house in the US. I think that's what you mean. That's correct, Pietro. That's correct. It is pretty crazy. Oh, cost wise. Oh, yeah. I gotcha. Yep. Absolutely, Derek. Absolutely. It is crazy talk. I was watching Selling Sunset, I think it was. My goodness, that show's insane. But I was looking at those houses thinking, yeah, that's pretty cheap. All of them are pretty cheap, except for like some $70 million monstrosity. So 44.90 again for anyone that's joining us. This is the resistance that we expect in the morning here. The market should open around 44.90. It's 3 points higher. Obviously, that buy the dip kind of FOMO coming back in here. 20 moving average. We test from the bottom up. We find out whether the bulls or the bears very shortly will be winning it. If you're thinking, I want to buy this dip and you're not already in, then you're most likely kind of looking for a scenario like this. A little bit higher, close above, comes back, tests the 44.90 from the top down, and then moves into that new high period. And of course, the market continues up, maybe to fall in October or November. If you're on the bear side, you hope it falls here, gets underneath that zone. And then, of course, 50 exponential moving average is the key area to be spotting. Price is going to be around 44.30 for that level. If you're not sure why the 50 is so good, take a look at this incredible 50 moving average festival of buying that's been happening over the last couple of months. That's right, Jason. Yes, the developer needs to probably be taken out. There's a lot of bad practices there, and they cannot say, "Oh, we'll bail these bad practices." Well, they have to do probably a partial. I feel like a partial is the way to go. Partially bail them, fix the system as much as they can. Don't let it become systemic, and then go from there. Let's take a look at Apple. So Apple's going to open at 150.51. What is the room's thought on Apple? We're about 19 minutes away from the market open, so we will go through all these stocks and have a look at all the key levels right now. What do you guys think in the chat about Apple? Do you think that this App Store thing is a big deal? Or do you believe that it's just a blip on the horizon? And does this bode badly for some of the other companies? I noticed on the weekend as well, Amazon have slapped Visa here in Australia, maybe in the US, 0.5% surcharge on using Visa credit cards on Amazon, but not if I use other credit cards. I tell you, we're just a moment away from Amazon releasing a crypto coin into their own universe. I think that would happen. Here's the 150. Again, resistance. I like this level. This was a zone that we were talking about. It slapped straight into that. We need to see recovery on Apple. Again, lightning bolt, smaller time frame, ideally, if you want to go long. Otherwise, next supports will be around 145 and 141. 145, 141. Parviaz says Apple down to 142. Donkin Dave says, notice Apple finished below 150 on Friday. That's the options. They didn't want to pay those calls. That's right, Donkin Dave. Now you guys are starting to big brain it. You understand. Remember, 70% of options expire worthless. Probably a whole bunch of them expire with relatively little gains. So what you're looking for that is key in most markets is whether the stock lets it through to the keeper. So what I mean by that is like we had on AMD when it went through that $100 price bracket and then it kept ramping and ramping and ramping. The calls became obscene. The same thing happened on Moderna. When that occurs, we really are on a point where Wall Street are not going to keep down that stock. They keep all the rest down. They let that one through, and just the sheer pressure of the calls just continuously ramps it up. You don't know if that's going to happen, but I tell you what, if Hype Equity and those other companies, those under kind of hype tracking stock websites show you it, yeah, you can get on board those ones. But in general, most will expire worthless. Let's take a look at Amazon. Amazon does have a good seasonal in it. I actually shared this with the private hangout this morning. Where did I put it? I don't know where I put it. Sorry, guys. Clicking around here. There's so many damn tabs. Nope. I don't know where I had it. But basically, here it is. So this is a seasonality of Amazon. So it tends to have a better than coin flip rate in September. October tends to be a pretty bad month for Amazon. And then November is a fantastic month heading into that Black Friday, Cyber Monday kind of sales. So Black Friday, Cyber Monday, November. Put that in your mind that it's a good seasonal there. You see a great technical, it's what we call actionable data. We bring it together and we certainly can do very, very well from those types of events. Now, I want to bring in a stock after we just talk about Amazon, and I think you guys might be surprised what it is. So we have resistance here from Amazon. Support, I feel, is around that 3420. Very nice 3400, 3420 support. If we close above here, I think that's participation zone, and Amazon continues to ramp up to that 3700. So if you like Amazon, you're all about this 3520 resistance this week. All about that level, closing above, and then getting excited. So the stock I'm going to bring up in question is actually Zoom. You might think, Tommy, you insane. Why are you bringing up Zoom again? So there are some reasons, and I believe it's got to do with, well, firstly, we've obviously had that gap. Price is sustained, very important factor. So price is actually sustained down here at the lows, and it's kind of consolidated a little bit. I noticed that the volume is higher than I expected it to be. So very little moves, but quite a lot of volume. I would say that's some nasty accumulation going on there that isn't retail, because retail have, very low thresholds for how long they look at a stock. Let's let the chat know. Chat, when the stock market, when like a stock falls, let's say a stock falls and you don't see a bounce on it, how often do you go back and look at that stock 3 days later? Tell me. Mr. Murray, you were wrong. It wasn't SPCE. And then Scott Morgan says, finally, DKNG. No, it's not one of those. It's my other one. Never, Tyler Webb says. Yeah, most retail don't go back. They never go back, whereas you probably should go back. You need to continue. You need to set alerts, and then you don't need to look at it. You just need to set alerts. So I had a little like sneaky alert set here, and I thought I'd come back and have a look at it. So it's basing a little bit at this point. You've got some relatively strong level of volume here. You've obviously got your full on base. And I thought, look, with Zoom, there's that gap trade. The gap trade is fairly powerful percentages. And when we move over to something like PS ratios and stuff, it's actually not anywhere near as expensive as it used to be. So this here is, what is this? This is the PE ratio. So it actually has earnings, 91.09. We look at the PS ratio. Again, the lowest it's been. So it's not even been this low before the pandemic. So it's actually relatively cheap. Now, you might say, oh, well, it's because the huge amounts of sales is slowing, but it's still ramping up there. It's not like here to here was that exceptional and here to here wasn't that exceptional or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like, that's still good ramp. And when it was doing absolutely nothing, which was over here, it was ramping at way heaps higher PS ratio. So I think that's an important factor. I would also look at what's happening on Google Trends. The fact is right now, Google Trends, it is hovering and not going down. It actually went up there for a period that wasn't in the report, and it's consistently stayed around this point. So that decline that was coming through of search is actually now stabilizing. So these are just little things that I think about. Then I'd go do further research, and you want to do that. But it's an interesting point, and I think it presents an okay case. From a technical standpoint, you actually look at the 2 hour, and it did break through, and then it came back and retested. So there are merits in the Zoom trade, if you can see it. PK Subban says Zoom has no moat. I agree. I'm not talking about investing in Zoom. You know I hate Zoom, PK, but we've also done okay on the channel, sometimes finding some little sneaky things on Zoom. We found some sneaky trades sometimes there. And we had over here a beautiful one. We talked about that. That's a much better trade than here, but there is still a great gap that needs to be filled at some point. FAF P44 says, what about pins? Is that similar? Yes, we look at pins every day on the channel, but pins has not given us any beautiful movement. So even here, when pins first gapped down, see how it never closed above? It tried, it failed, and then it came lower. But I look at pins all the time, and I'll continue to watch this stock until it gives us action, because there's lots of percentage in there should it have that turnaround story in it. So will Roku when eventually it turns around. It's down a lot now. So will some of these others. So we're 11 minutes away. Let's go through all our stocks right now. So we'll go through Snow. That hit resistance. I'm actually pretty done with Snow. I think that's a perfect TP. Congrats to Snow traders. We're closing it. It's gone. Goodbye, Snow. We'll come back and check you out in the future. We look at Enphase, closed below. I think that's felt relatively bearish for it. I don't like Enphase at this point. We tried to see it go above 180. It never did. 179, 180. Never closed there. If it did, we would have been long. At this point, we have to think it's more short than long. And you can clearly see where that volume profile is showing. It's right around that 143 action. So I feel like it could go weaker into this point. Weaker. We will do low Yelang. Don't worry, we'll do PayPal and Google very soon. And I think I might have missed a super chat. Dave, if you can find it, I think it was for $1, man. I might have missed it. We've also got a cash chopper of $5. Says, morning, Tom. Amazon competing with Square on small biz merchants now. Prob Y Visa is plus 0.5%. Yes, Amazon has a monstrous moat, and it is in so many businesses. The only problem with Amazon is going to be anti-competitive, like competitor. I think Amazon's cheap. So some kind of competition thing coming up from the government in the future. That's going to be the big problem. Microsoft still remains that double top that's going underneath. We should open around here. which is pretty much where we're going to open, 29.30. Look for resistance to come in early here. And if you're not sure about the market, check out Microsoft. If it starts to dip again, probably the rest of the market will come with it. So watch this chart quite a lot. Big company, well worth watching. Google, 20 moving average has tended to be that stronger kind of buy zone for it. The trend is still up, but yeah, I love the company long term. I think there's big gains still in Google, even at these prices. But you can't deny the 20 moving average. But this also is the most aggressive big red candle into it. And I feel like everyone's been buying the dip. So maybe a little bit overextended here in this one. We'll move through some others. RK, resistance met. Obviously, Tesla will be the big one there. And Square, ARKG in the middle of nowhere. Beam, looking for that to get back above, which it looks like it's going to do this morning. I like Beam. Trend line held. Beam is a very good CRISPR stock if you're interested in that. Speaking of CRISPR, the CRISPR stock itself, 128 plus close, still looking for it to get out of this tight range it's been in. It's explosive, but it needs to get out of there. SPLK looking for a pullback, maybe back down to 20 moving average, around that 152. Inverse head and shoulder still in play. Very slow stock. You've got to know that. TDOC, nothing's changed. Just looking for it to get above 147 this week. Keep watching. Barber, terrible as usual. Need a close above 175 to get bullish on this. 20 moving average coming down. Above the 20 will be good. Baidu, meh. Nothing much we can do there. JD, hovering around this zone. Just wanted to consolidate there ideally would be good. Twilio, geez, still sick. So sick. Even though it's up this morning, I still think come back down to that 330 and we'll see what ends up happening. If you're bullish on it, you need it to get above 367. Nvidia in the middle of nowhere land, very tough to trade unless you're trading within a range. Look at the smaller time frames. We've done pins. Let's go to DKNG. So DKNG hit the take profit that we had the other day from the ascending. Thank you very much, Scott Morgan. Long leg doji, rejection, no close either way. Look for low underneath that to cause further selling and buy above 64, 61 to really create some nice hype. And I would like that trade actually to go pretty crazy. I think you get above this zone, we're talking about $72. $72 it's just so much participation zone that can happen. So watch that resistance this week. Absolutely. Airbnb still doing well. Got the trend line on the 2 hour you can watch. It's 2.3% down this morning. What's 161? So back onto support. If you like it, you can take it. That's our expectation. We haven't really changed anything since we saw that closeout. Always had the same plan. Intel, I'm super excited about the level, should it ever occur. Intel above 54.50. Yes, let's get above that and then push 55, and then we're in for a nice rally. An underappreciated stock that will come back. Doccoin, please. What is Doccoin, Aaron? We'll check that out. Are you going to go CCJ? Sure, we can do CCJ. So CCJ, we did analyze it over here. Massive rally. Obviously, everyone's talking about it. There's not much you can really do from the perspective of if you're not in this right now. And I think that's the big problem a lot of people always have with these stocks. If you're in it, cool, well done. If you're not in it, you've got to look for a pullback back to this zone. So 23, and then hopefully it rallies. The only moving average that you can currently see has been the 1 hour 20. 1 hour 20 here, previous resistance. And if you want to, pick it up off the 1 hour 20. But buying into a rally like this is very risky and you can often lose a lot of money. So just, 20 moving average will be the key, I think, for the pullbacks. You've already seen it happen 3 times, so you might as well follow that trend. Follow the trend, but don't be stupid. That's the way with CCJ. I think AMC is actually better from the perspective of where it could go. Spot, meh. Not much we can do there. Netflix, again, meh. Not really great. Unity hit profit. 138, 140 zone. Play. How did play look on the daily? Oh, it never held. I didn't look at this again. Look at that. All of that beautiful gap up after earnings, and it just took it all off. What a piece of crap. That sucks. So just to answer a cash, absolutely. Amazon is in the driver's seat. I like it as a long-term play. William, $5. Rookie question. Do you believe in max pain theory? How often you reference asking for day trading friend of mine that keeps catching knives? Yeah, I mean, I guess the max pain theory is causing people like pushing the market to a point that basically creates so much pain on leverage and then it reverses. Yeah, you can see it in price if that's what you're talking about. I haven't read the exact theory, but yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I do. You can see it in price whenever you go and look at charts, whenever you think about Wyckoff theory, like why did this go down here and go to a new low after that to wipe out everything, freak people out, take out stop losses, take out rookie traders. It did it again. It engulfs backwards and then fully reverses, and then we're out here. So yes, I absolutely believe in that. You can see it in stocks as well. 3 minutes to the open. I'll go through some more stocks here. So we had Zoom before. I don't mind the old Zoom. Needs to close above like a 302, 303, and then it should be fairly exciting. Got PayPal. I like PayPal. A bit disappointing that the beautiful flag that we had on the 4 hour didn't end up completing, but I'd take it every time. So this flag here, I still like PayPal. I think it's got a good little base here, and I hope it can turn around. We need it above this, guys. 200 and what is this? 290? 290. 290. Closure above 290 should resume uptrend for PayPal. Twitter's terrible. Jack Dorsey company's getting beaten here. That's not good. Twitter looks horrible. No. Takes out a lot of stops here. That's looking bad. Bad. ONCT, nothing much there. And then we've got Tencent. Obviously, the government's getting all over that one, unfortunately. What else do we have here? AMC, we like it. We still like this into the 50 to 30. And then after that point, we're looking for a 60. 60 after that point. Chris Smith says, I'm a FOMO buyer. Stupid max pain here. Look, if you want to stop FOMO, scale. Please, someone in chat say that this helped them. If you want to stop it, scale. AFRM, YouTube pump and dump. Is that a thing? If there are YouTube pump and dumps happening now, I'm kind of worried for myself because I don't really like this type of stuff happening. This is a very $36.94 billion company. It's not small. All right, let's quickly scale into the 4 companies that we're going to be looking at. We've got Tesla into the open. Obviously, we always check that out. It's going to open around 740. I do hope for a good week. Watch the options flow, guys. Also watch 726 daily 20 moving average around there. That's going to be important. US 500, that would just open ding, around 44.94. Expect some selling to come around here early. I would be surprised to not see selling early. I know it's up and it looks glorious, but generally speaking, this should be the point where the market turns red. This should be where Wall Street try to have a bit of a crack early at the exuberance coming in. Let's see what happens. What stocks have we got open here? Apple up 1%, 150.57. Red through a whole bunch of tech stocks here, including the Chinese stocks. QQQ gets beaten early there. You'll notice it's gone back down to only being up 0.56% now. So there are some sellers. S&P overall pretty strong, I must say. Fubo, I think Fubo had a pretty good technical coming up on it. Let's have a look here. Zoom down in the morning, 297. Needs to get above that 300 and hold for us. Don't panic or freak or anything like that today, guys. We're just talking about the key levels. There's no, if you've got long-term plans, even if it corrects, remember, it's more about having powder on the sidelines if that's what you're going to do. And if you're trading, then you're looking for more clarity. I don't think we have enough clarity here early in the morning. We're opening at the resistances. Tesla 736 now. Let's look at the Webull scanner. Let's bring all that up. Let's have a look at the percentage changes here. Tomorrow, CPI data, if you're not already aware, NVIDIA up 1.6%. Apple up 1.28, Pioneer. Let's go to the negative side. Alibaba, Airbnb down 2.41, Spotify 1.72, Zscaler, Roku, Etsy, and then there's not that much other reds, it looks like. Alphabet up hard, 1%, not bad. Ulrich Nielsen, DKK $50, HYUD. If you zoom in on the daily and look at it for the last 3 weeks, do you see it going? Right now, it looks 50-50 to me, and it could go to the 37 or 48. Okay. We'll check that out in just a sec. Let's just load up that S&P again. I want to look at this in some more detail. So let's look at the SPX. Okay, daily. All right, so we gap up. We have obviously not filled that gap, as we know. So we've gapped up, we've opened through, we've gone above the 20. Let's go to the 2 hour now. So we've got 2 moving averages sitting right here, 4,500 exactly. So if we do rally into that, that's going to be a bit of a kiss of death for it. You will expect some pullback. Now, this is where you've got to make tougher decisions if you want to trade through this point. If you hit a 4,500, then you sell off back down. Let's say you hit 40, what's that? 44.80. That's where you hope it then re-rallies. I just think there's not that much clarity here in the markets early on. It's the close that's the key, and Friday certainly showed us a negative close. We're opening at resistance again. That's something that we are doing. And markets have reacted with about a 0.1% up so far. Knock Knock says BTC is running. Oh, yeah, we'll check it out. That's good. Decent coming off that base that we were discussing. I like this base. I think it plays into the Wyckoff accumulation style. Obviously, long leg doji, rejection. Do we see a closure decision made? Long. Truly Messiah says, go long and don't bother. Finken79 says they sold into the open heavy. And then CMAX says everything is about FAAMNG. Yeah, you can't really go wrong with that, can you? Nothing wrong with the FAAMG. All right, let's look at this stock, HYUD. Hyundai Motor. What is this? Hyundai Motor Company. Oh, so this is actually Hyundai. Daily. Oh, yeah. Ooh, it looks pretty 50-50 to me, Ulrich. Not strong. No, I don't like it, man. I know I usually have some positive things to say, but the only positive would be past 46. And you said here could go to 37 or 48. Yeah, I think close above 46. I actually think it goes higher. I think 52, 53. Hyundai is hot on the robot, says Ed Al. Hot. Market now taking a small cooler, very small, on some, mostly it looks like Nasdaq. Small cooler, but not much. Marvin the Martian says INTC bulling up too. I really don't mind INTC. I just want a closure. That Friday action makes me think that this thing's you know, it's got something going on it. Wait, where was INTC? Volume is still so crappy though. But yeah, this stock is interesting. Zoom down 1.64%. Didn't quite close above. We do need that finalized here, but I'm continuing to watch this very heavily. I'm serious when I'm talking about that gap, but I want it above this with the daily close. Permit Fisher, $4.99 says, you got time to tell an Aussie fish story before you go. All right, man, we'll do that in a second. Intel cracking the 55 already. Where's Intel right now? Oh, it is too, yeah. Yeah, 55. But it's got a lot to go. I mean, we go from 50, 55 or whatever if we get the daily close, no false breakout. Remember, getting above here would be massive for it. We've got 58, and then we have some serious levels here, 65, 62. There's some pretty nice levels. BT still running. That's good. It's a nice rejection if it does occur. Comes down, retests that final low. It's very possible. I hope it does. BTC leading the way there. Let's 47.5 will be the true out of the woods. So in terms of a fishing story, I guess my best fishing story probably happened last year. I was just so happy with it. So we managed to basically in our bay here in Melbourne, as you guys call it, there's like a seasonal snapper fishing event, and they come in for a few months of the year. So anyway, no one catches that big a fish. Like my personal best is maybe like a 90, I think it's like a 93 or something like that, which is pretty big. Anyway, this guy, he picks in, he catches, like basically he's got this, he uses like bait, and we're baiting up his rods, and his bait was 1/3 of a head of pilchard, which you'd think is very, very small. So basically he puts it out over the side and he's fishing there, and he almost like, he gets this bite and he almost falls in, and he's got the rod and the rod's bending off hard, obviously incredibly big fish. And it goes on and on and on. We're only sitting in maybe 6 meters of water. So it goes on and on and on. So we're sitting there for about 25 minutes, and we're thinking like, oh, maybe not that long, but like 6 minutes, actually, not 25 minutes. We sit there and we like, it's 100% a shark, no doubt. And the guy, especially with the small bait, the take and everything. Anyway, he gets it up, and the captain, because I was on a charter, I swear he almost had a heart attack. He literally lost his mind. We couldn't net it because it was such a big fish, 108 centimeter snapper. The guy went nuts. By the end of that day, it went like social on Victoria. And I went, and everywhere you went, every single fishing shop was talking about that fish, because it basically got the PB for the world, for the bay for that year. And I tell you what, I was there. The captain lost his mind, and then all of a sudden we were swarmed by about 150 boats. about 5 minutes later. So there you go, Permit Fisher. 150 boats came in after. Big fish. Unfortunately, it did die. I will tell you that. There was no putting it back. Those big ones, they don't survive, unfortunately. It's the bad side. So we're up here, 45,800 on Bitcoin. And we're back down in the markets. So as we suspected, damn, they're nasty, guys. I'm telling you, you just got to believe in the nastiness. Oh, they're so nasty. Damn, we look away for 2 seconds and they're slamming all the retail traders. Oh, they're so devilish, these Wall Street people. No worries, Permit Fisher. Can you check out the algo, Tom? Yeah, I can check out the algo, but it will be bearish. It's been bearish actually for 2 weeks, you know. Every time you pick up QQQ or SPY algo flow, it's always bearish, at least for the last 2 weeks. So let me bring you some algo flow action up here. Let's see if there's any good stuff going on. It's too early in the day probably for a bit of algo flow. Too early in the day to get it through. Let me have a look here at some of the stocks. Yeah, so it's not giving enough data because you only have one data point. You got it in a few minutes. But I can tell you Apple is obviously negative, positive price, negative flow. But it's obviously not enough data points yet. So positive price, negative flow. You get more clarity soon, but that is super nasty. Well, I hope no one got trapped. You heard it here first, guys. We didn't have the faith, all right? I told you they like to open at resistance and they like to put the big punisher in. Daily closes matter more than anything else. And look at them now. Oh, they're so nasty. On the flip side, Bitcoin looks pretty good. Let's see if they actually get a close down here, though. Remember, close is the key on the 1 hour. But this is a very nasty candle here early. 0.68% down from the top. Big rally into the open, 0.2, 0.3%. Now we're back down here. We can start actually talking about 50 exponential moving averages potential here. It's all about the close, as we know. We still can't panic or anything like that. But this is what I'm talking about with clarity. You know, you don't have that clarity. Closure underneath is important. 50 is the next level. If it does get lower today, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50, we dance around the 50. Kevin N says this whole week is a setup for options. That's right. Polana M says, I feel like if I lost money, if I heard Tom's voice while it was happening, it would have been all right. I'll just tell you, be optimistic. Be optimistic. Be optimistic. It'll be okay. Don't leverage if you don't know what you're doing. I should have put the wall up there today. My fish story killed the market. Musty says, Tom, can you look at ATER? We can have a quick look. ATER. Ethereum. What is this? I feel like whenever I see packaged software, it always turns out to be like this random bullish thing that I don't understand what it is. Look, yeah, it's bullying, man. What do you want me to tell you? I mean, it's broken a pretty steep, down curve. It's done that a while ago. It's finished its gap trade, which was here. That's why it found resistance. This is, I don't know what's causing it, but there's huge volume. It's probably Wall Street or Wall Street bets, and it's a complete gamble fest. Look at 20. 20 is absolutely a very key zone to be scaling off. If you still like it for more, sure. But that 20 zone, wow. Do we have halibut? Not in the bay. Chillax Outlet says Port Phillip Bay is flathead central, tasty on the BBQ. You know what Port Phillip Bay is really good for, actually? King George Whiting. King George Whiting, man. King George Whiting. All right. I hope you guys are doing all right here because it is a little bit nasty. I'm not going to lie. What they're doing to you guys is brutal, and I don't like it. Mostly because so many people don't understand this is their actions. The US 500 is actually holding up better than you'd expect. So it's mostly an attack on tech. Tech is the weakest sector for the September period, usually. It's got that rotational weakness in it. February is obviously the weakest month of tech, if you're wondering about seasonals. But tech held up stronger on the Friday session, so that could be part of it. Look, we don't know where this is going to go other than the 50 exponential is a key level if it does keep falling. If it gets underneath there, well, then I get to make bear videos. But just remember this in your mind, yeah? Even if the market falls, I want everyone to keep this stat in your mind. Markets in win streaks. It's a positive thing. Markets were winning for a reason. They've got that beautiful muscle memory to go back as well. We're in month 7 of course, strong gains. In all of these illustrious months, they had a weakness. Then the next month after that was better than a coin flip positive. Then it was even better than a coin flip positive in 3 months. And if you've got that longer term approach, 92.9% of these markets were up in 6 months. And we're not talking, oh, I'm up 1% on the index. We're talking we're up 7.9%. And if you want anything more to be going, okay, I'm feeling all right about it, that's good. Remember, the only bad thing that I see in the market right now that's really bad is probably this, unfortunately. And we cannot say it on YouTube because it is a no-no word. I believe it demonetizes you. Nasty Wall Street. Tom Morgan says, Scott Morgan, sorry, Tom Morgan says, Tom, I might need to reduce my super chats for a week or two. Sorry, man. That's all right, bro. I understand, man. I appreciate you guys when you support me, but I also understand, you know, sometimes the market is a little bit brutal. Let's have a look at Chewy. I'll give you a free Chewy analysis. I assume that's why. Yeah, it's Chewy. Yeah, back. Oh, yeah. A little crap hammer wasn't enough, eh? And unfortunately, you're probably wondering, where do we go next? And I don't think you're going to like the level. I mean, it's possible you stop around here, but I could feel like it. I mean, if it was me and I was looking at buying this thing, I would box in here and then look for lightning bolts and then take them up. So yeah, that is quite possible. Bitcoin actually doing amazingly here, guys. Look at the rally coming into this coin. If the Bitnoodle does well and it gets past 47.5, then the rest of the coins will follow at some point. 47.5 will be key. Wow, look at it rally. Knock, knock, going nuts right now, dancing around. Okay, well, we'll leave it there. Obviously, the markets are red here. I understand that it's a lot of the hyper stocks that are down and a lot of these major stocks are here. It's interesting that the FANG stocks are actually not leading the way. So the rest of the market's being brutalized while the FANG stocks hold strong. If Microsoft turns and Apple turns, and of course these go, it will be a bit of a bloodbath because these ones will smash the index more. It's very interesting they're not going down. That's because there's a flight right now. The rotation's coming out. The rotation goes, they've got to put their money somewhere. They go into what they see as the safety net barrier. And then if that dumps, then of course they're going into the bonds, etc. Scott Morgan says Chewy to 65, sadly. Yes, I could see that. Alpha T, what do you mean? Alpha T says, Tom, you see uranium going up? I just look at basically uranium, and when you look at the uranium price, that's enough for us. Cryptos are literally the only thing that did well for me this year. Stocks just do not go well for me. Tesla and PayPal. Well, it could be, oh yeah, Tesla since the start of the year, and PayPal. You wouldn't be down on PayPal though, I don't think. I mean, PayPal's at support right now. I mean, this level's not too bad. But yeah, when things are hyped, the problem with stocks is you've got to kind of spot the rotation before it occurs. Unless you're going with those, you know, it's kind of like Intel. You know, why the hell is Intel up today? You know, Intel's 2.5% up, and it's one of the only stocks that's got this beautiful inverse head and shoulders on it. And you think, oh, well, this stock sucks and no one likes it. But all of a sudden it's getting this bullish action. We saw it on Friday. We're seeing it again today. The rest of the market just can't do it. Brady, $2. MME on the ASX. It's a micro cap. Technical analysis thoughts. Let's have a look at MME. Is a little bit more tough to do TA on some of the micro caps, but this one's not too bad. Let's go to the daily. I like that $2. Hey, it's nice. $2 is very cool. Resistance, support. It is a bit disappointing it's failed to rally here. I would have preferred that it goes off this nice base because it did base very strongly. Beautiful base, closed above, went to the first level. This is where you expect it to break out. Because it's coming back down here, 2 must hold. Look for lightning bolts or bases here. Don't just buy randomly the 2. You need more support. Why it failed here, I can't tell you. That should have happened. So you're in like a big channel. You got your troughs here, you've got your peaks here, or your highs here. You're in your overall big channel. You'll take that distance if it does break up above, and that will be the range that you're going with. And if it breaks below, you probably don't want to buy for a little while. Yeah, see, price actions very well. See how that proofs incredibly well to these peaks? It means it's thinking about what it's doing, which in itself is kind of scary. So $1.70 on the heavy support and 2 as the support coming through. Here is also an interesting zone. Look at the 1 hour. I don't like it here. I prefer either here or a breakout. Good luck there, Brady. Trishan S says Walmart accepting LTC. That's strange, but okay. Joe Rattay says, hey, Tom, thanks for all the great info. No worries, Joe. Wow, I'm really surprised Walmart would be doing that one. More and more places are turning to crypto, short-term bullish, long-term. Finken doesn't have anything but bullish. Interesting stuff. So still early days here, guys. Obviously, SP500 really finding a lot more strength than the US 100. Wait for the close. This could all be false breaks down, etc. Close is the key. If you want to be buying dips, then you're obviously looking at where you just hit then 15,450. And then underneath that's obviously the 50 exponential moving average. You just hit the low. There'll be lots of shenanigans this week. Spooky Friday. That's the thing. UEC is off again, Tom. Let's have a look at UEC. I do like the uranium company that you picked. It was a great super chat. Thank you very much for this. Yeah, it is. I must admit, there's a little bit of scaly here. Wow, look at it go. It's such a beast. More scaling to be done. There's nothing wrong with taking a little bit of third action off at these points. Look at that resistance. Wowzers. What a trade. And all the uraniums were doing that because CCJ was doing it as well, it looked like. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Love that trade. Pacific Group says $20. Thank you very much, Pacific Group. Appreciate it. And Gareth Evans says, damn BTC shorts. BTC shorts will be rising now. No, not rising. I would have expected it to be slightly rising as the market goes through. Yeah, nothing wrong with this. Are you seeing something I'm not, Gareth? Andrew Cross says I took a quarter off. Yeah, that whatever it is, the uranium stock being a beast for us. Shizzy Wiznut says, night, Tom, many thanks for your channel. No worries. That's awesome as well. 2 tank dives. Very cool. All right, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. Be careful out there. Very strange things going on in the markets. Obviously, Dow rallying through some stocks. It looks like a flight to the safe ones. That's why you're seeing the FANG stocks hold up and the rest of the stocks get belted down. Watch the sectors. Watch specifically what the FANG does. That's going to be probably the big teller here because look at that US 100 still down to 0.1% up, yet the market is rallying behind some big tech and just slamming the rest. Intel, one to watch. I like the Intels. Catch everyone. Bye for now. See you tomorrow. Thank you so much for your support as per usual. Remember to subscribe, smash that like button, and it will all be good soon. Don't worry. Even if we go negative, free powder, and you look towards the market, optimism is the best thing. Bye for now.